Hey everybody, welcome to Rocky Top Wrestling Review. That's right, it's Rocky Top Wrestling Review now. We took the D out of the Drunken Wrestling Review, and now we're just going to do Rocky Top Reviews. Because in all honesty, usually I'm drinking this right here, Magic Water. So today we're going to do something even a little bit different. We're going to avoid the reviews of wrestling, and we're actually going to look at the Marvel Universe today. We've got the new Avengers coming out on May 1st. It's only a few weeks away at this point, so I wanted to really look at the universe and the MCU and see what it's doing now. Even rate the movies a little bit, see how they've done in the box office so far, make a prediction for what this box office blockbuster is going to do as well. Looking at the MCU, of course, you know, the first ever MCU movie, and of course MCU, I mean Marvel Cinematic Universe. For those of us that apparently don't live on Earth, I did hear on Zach's movie show, cheap plug, if you want to listen to that on podcast, it's absolutely awesome, part of the Secret League of Podcasters, so check that out, Zach's movie show. But anyway, Zach actually said he worked with some people that have never seen the original Avengers. That's crazy to me. I can't imagine anybody not seeing the Avengers movie. You know, it's, what is it? I think isn't it the highest ever blockbuster in history? I've got notes over here. $1.5 billion. That's 1.5 billion with a B. $billion. So I can't imagine anybody hasn't seen this. The first ever of the MCUs was, of course, Iron Man. Iron Man 1 starring Robert Downey Jr., part of the Phase 1. And again, I've got some notes over here, so I'm going to fly through these notes real quick while we put up the graphic of Phase 1 movies. First Iron Man came out May of 2008 with a budget of $140 million, and it made $585. The Incredible Hulk came out a month later. With this budget pretty close, $150, but it only pulled in $263 million. And I say only because of the other numbers that you're going to see on your screen here. Iron Man 2 with $200 million as its budget pulled in $623.9 million. Thor came right after that the next year. $150 million budget pulled in $449 million. Captain America with a $140 million budget. $370 million at the box office, and then of course Avengers, $220 million budget, $1.518 billion. It's incredible the amount of money these movies have made. When you look at these movies, everybody likes to rank them. You know, it's real easy to rank them by how much they made at the box office. To me, though, the Incredible Hulk making that little compared to the other ones is really an unfair assessment. So I'm going to go ahead and rank my Phase 1 movies the way I see them. Number 1. Nope, sorry, not number 1. I'm going to start at the bottom. So there's 6 movies. So number 6 of the Phase 1 movies I'm going to rank, and that is going to be Thor. Thor. I really felt, Thor the Dark World, or was it Thor the Dark World? Or no, it's just called Thor, right? Alright, so Thor came out, and I gotta say, it was really well received by everybody I had heard about, and I don't know if they hyped it up too much for me, but when I went and saw it, I literally fell asleep in the theater. I, of course, bought it on Blu-ray as well, and I feel like Thor is definitely my lowest pick of the Phase 1 movies. The acting was great. The story, though, there wasn't enough Thor in Thor for me. And when there was Thor, there was only the one action scene at the very end, and he gets his butt kicked, and then he gets brought back, and then he wins. But it just, the villains I didn't feel were built up enough. The Bifrost, Lodi did an awesome job setting up for a part 2, and also, you know, for Avengers, but the actual story itself in Thor really just kind of lost me. And again, like I said, I fell asleep in the movie theater, and that's never a good sign for a movie. But yeah, Thor would be my number 6 out of the Phase 1 movies. If I looked at number 5 in the Phase 1 movies, it would have to be Iron Man 2. After seeing the first Iron Man, you really expected Marvel to knock another home run with Iron Man 2. And, you know, they did a good job introducing Scarlett Johansson in there. You know, really, you know, established her character as well as established the Iron Patriot character coming into this one. But the movie just lacked so much. I don't know if it was Rourke as Whiplash that took it from me, or why. But you know, I guess the big thing is when you compare it to the first one, which you are naturally going to do, then it's got to be lower than the first one. So Iron Man 2 is my number 5 out of the Phase 1 movies. Number 4 in the Phase 1 movies is the lowest one at the box office. That's where The Incredible Hulk falls in, the $263 million blockbuster that is a Marvel failure, because it is definitely the lowest one so far when it comes to the finances at the movie theater and how well it did. I will tell you, The Incredible Hulk, I think, had a tough time because the other Hulk movie, the Ang Lee Hulk movie, had just come out a couple years prior, and they had to relaunch The Incredible Hulk. I think as people watch this movie more, I think you can really appreciate it more, and I think it's a lot better now that I've seen it on, you know, Blu-ray. Edward Norton blew it out of the water as the Incredible Hulk, in my opinion. He did a phenomenal job, as well as you know, Liv Tyler, Tim Roth. You know, I think the only problem with Hulk, the character, you know, he's so big, he's so powerful. They really needed to establish another character, and even though Abomination was in it, he transformed into Abomination, and then that was it. All of a sudden, it was Abomination versus Hulk. I think if there was some more character development, you know, I think honestly this movie needs more. This movie needs a part 2, and if it's a part 2 where it's not just Hulk by himself, you know, maybe he's got some other characters. You know, maybe you put Scarlett Johansson in there. You know, maybe throw in Iron Man or Captain America or something like that. This character is there. It just, maybe it's not deep enough by itself. I've always been a big fan of the old Marvel cartoons, because I'm old, where it was Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk would be in the movies together, the cartoons together. And I really think that a Spider-Man and an Incredible Hulk movie would be fantastic for the series. And hopefully now that Marvel's got the Marvel's got the ability to put Spider-Man in the MCU, I'd like to see them be able to do that. That way they can still utilize the Incredible Hulk. But right now, the Incredible Hulk is my number 4 movie out of the Phase 1s. Number 3 out of the Phase 1 movies, Captain America. Captain America, the first Avenger. I did not expect a lot from this movie, especially after watching Thor. I was thinking, okay, well, Thor has failed me. There's no way this Captain America movie is going to be any good. I'm not a huge fan of Chris Evans. His portrayal in Fantastic Four was awful, but, you know, of course, so were those movies. And I've just never been a big fan of his, but he really blew Captain America out of the water. This movie was well written. It was a great time piece movie. The funny thing, like, as I watched it, though, like, the Agent Carter, Marvel's tried to produce her on these TV shows, and I have thought these TV shows are so boring. Like, I tried to watch them, and I just can't get into them. But, you know, I digress from that. So Captain America is my ranked number 3 movie. So now you've got 2 movies left. You've got The Avengers, the highest grossing movie in Marvel history, and Iron Man. And I will give the nod. I will say number 2 in this one is going to have to go to Iron Man. This movie, I thought, again, really great movie. I like the fact that it was based in realism. I like that the entire movie didn't even feel like a superhero movie, actually. I thought until the very end. And I think that's the only reason why I think Avengers is a little bit better than that. Because Avengers is a superhero movie, and it's treated like a superhero movie. Where Iron Man, it wasn't treated like a superhero movie, and I really think they played that to their strengths throughout the entire movie. And at the very end, when all of a sudden it was Tony versus the bad guy Iron Man, then that's where the movie kind of lost me for just a minute. But up until that point, the climax of that, this was absolutely a great movie. So number one movie of Phase 10 or Phase 1, number one movie of Phase 1 is absolutely The Avengers. It's got comedy, it's got drama, it's superheroes. It doesn't shy away from being a superhero movie. It starts with action and it ends with action. Nothing bad you could really say about this movie. Just absolutely phenomenal. So here's my rankings again for Phase 1. You have number 6, Thor. Number 5, Iron Man 2. Number 4, The Incredible Hulk. Number 3, Captain America, the First Avenger. Number 2, Iron Man. And number 1, Marvel's Avengers. So there it is for Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now we're getting ready to go into Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 2, which is just about to end this summer with the Avengers coming out May 1st and then Ant-Man coming out July 17th. So that's when Phase 2 is going to end. So let's go ahead and look at Phase 2 and what the movies have done so far. We've got Iron Man 3 with a budget of $200 million, pulling in $1.2 billion. That's an unbelievable number. Thor came in a $170 million budget, $644 million at the box office. Captain America, $170 million budget as well, $714 million. Guardians of the Galaxy with a $195.9 million budget, pulled in $724 million. That was a huge surprise. Guardians of the Galaxy, I never heard about. I am a professional wrestling fan. I absolutely cannot stand Dave Bautista. I think he's a waste of space in the ring, on The Interview, and anywhere else that he does. So him being in this movie turned me off to it. The fact that they were using Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel as voices for two characters, CGI characters, that threw me off as well, where I was like, well, that's stupid. I don't even know why I'd go to this. I didn't know who Chris Evers, is that his name? I didn't know who he was, and the Green Girl as well. I really didn't care about her either. Again, knew nothing about the characters. So I'm so shocked that that one made that much money. Looking over the list of Phase 1 and Phase 2, that's actually the third highest Marvel movie when it comes to gross, when it comes to what it made at the box office. So really huge numbers for Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, you got Avengers: Age of Ultron coming out, like I said, on May 1st, and then you've got Ant-Man coming out July 17th. So I can't include those, but I will tell you right now what we're looking at for my rankings for the 4 movies that are out. And of course, it'll be 6 at the end of the summer. But number 4 on the list, and I guarantee you when the other movies come out, this movie will rank as my number 6 pick, because it just wasn't a good movie. It was not a good movie. It wasn't a good movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It wasn't a good Part 3. It did nothing really to further the character of Tony Stark, and I gave it away right there. Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3, I thought, so far, if you ranked the Phase 1 movies and the Phase 2 movies together, Iron Man 3 would be my lowest pick of them all. So in Phase 2 right now is Iron Man 3. Again, I just don't think there was enough Iron Man. I don't think that they explored the the character enough. I don't think they explored the superhero enough. His inner demon battles, I understand that story, but you've got to do more. And then at the very end, when all of a sudden you've got 50 different Iron Man suits coming out of nowhere, battling what the villain in that movie should have been a huge deal. Like, the fact that you got Ben Kingsley in a movie portraying, supposedly this huge villain, and all of a sudden it turns out that he's just a drunkard that's getting his strings pulled by somebody else. Man, that lost me. It lost me so much. As soon as that happened, as soon as that reveal happened in the movie, spoiler alert, man, I was just gone. I was just like, well, this sucks. So Iron Man 3, definitely the lowest of those picks. The next one that I would put on the list is Thor: The Dark World. It was good to see Lodi back. It was good to see Thor. I did not fall asleep in the theater for this one. It was actually a 10 times better than what the first one was. But still, when you rank all these other movies, you have to rank that one a little bit lower. Next one that I would rank is Captain America. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Again, another good movie. Chris Evans understands this character. He's doing this character very well. The way that the story was done, where you didn't know who was good, who was bad. The implications that it had on the TV show, S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that really surprised me. But, I thought this was a really good movie. It was well written, well acted, and it definitely made me wanting more and more and more. And then that leaves the third highest grossing Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, being ranked as my number one. This movie, again, same thing like Avengers. It had an ensemble cast. Granted, two of them were CGI and one was Dave Bautista. The movie just came together. The comedy was there. The action was there. They didn't shy away from it being a movie about superheroes. They embraced it. And that usually, I'm not a big fan, I think, of even like the space ones. I really like the reality-based comic book movies so far that, happen on Earth. And I think maybe that's why I'm not a huge fan of the Thor movies. But Guardians of the Galaxy took me out of that comfort zone of the Earthbound movies and made me care about these characters and made me care about what was going on. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Avengers can knock it out of my number one spot. Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, as well as Ant-Man. Ant-Man's another one of those characters I know nothing about. I knew nothing about the Guardians, so I'm interested to see how Ant-Man does, not only at the box office, but actually how good the movie actually is. Will it be Marvel's first big flop? Don't know. I still see it doing better than the Incredible Hulk, but it could be this is probably the scariest character that Marvel's going to do when it comes to popularity, I think, for its cinematic universe. So Phase 3 is coming up starting next year. You'll have Captain America 3. Of course, that's the Civil War movie. The big talk about that one is SpiderMan's going to be in it. And the news that we came out this week that I heard was Spider-Man is going to be the teenage Spider-Man. So he's going to be a high schooler in that movie. So you've got Captain America 3, the Civil War. Then you got Doctor Strange, another character I know nothing about. I'm not a comic book fan. I'm a comic book movie fan. So Doctor Strange is coming out next November. So I'm interested to see how that all plays out. Of course, I'm going to go to the theater and watch it because I'm a comic book movie fan, so I want to watch it. You got Guardians of the Galaxy 2 right after that, and then you've got an unnamed Spider-Man movie that's going to happen. So the first time that Marvel Studios and Sony is going to really push that partnership for a standalone movie with Spider-Man. I think that will be very good. I'm not complaining about the Spider-Man movies that they've had out. I think Tobey Maguire's was good for the time period that it came out in. And then, of course, Dark Knight came out after that, and then, kind of brought all comic book movies up to a whole new ball game. So I'm, I don't know what the fascination was with getting rid of the cast from The Amazing Spider-Man. I think they all did a phenomenal job. I think that, the lead was great. Gwen Stacy was played very well as well. I think everybody did great. Sally Field was phenomenal, I thought, in her role also. So, that Aunt May role was, I think, good. I think the only issue that I would have with the movie, The Amazing Spider-Man, I'm kind of off on subject here, but The Amazing Spider-Man, Jamie Foxx, I think, did a good job. I think that comic book fans would have accepted it a little bit better if they wouldn't have gone so far away from the original costume. Rhino was in that movie, and his costume was pretty true, as you could get to a realistic, version of the comic book. The Goblin was very close to his character. I don't know why they felt the need to get away from Electro's, green and yellow costume. I don't know. That to me has always bothered me whenever it comes to comic book movies or, movies based on toys. Like, don't even get me started on Transformers, because you can make a Transformer look like the Transformers from the cartoons, instead of these robots that they make that you can't even tell the difference between them. Same thing with G.I. Joe. I don't understand why. When you make G.I. Joe, if you have Shipwreck in the movie, then who cares if he's wearing a goofy costume from the Navy? Let him wear the version of the toy that we're used to. He doesn't need to be in all black. And Shipwreck wasn't even in the G.I. Joe movies. But if he was, then you need to give us what we remember from the toys, from the comic books, from the movies previous. Give us that. You don't have to change that. Optimus Prime doesn't have to look like a complete believable robot that transforms into a car. Give me the one from the television show, I say television show, I mean the cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon, and I'll be happy because I'll recognize him. I'll know what he looks like. I already know what he sounds like. When he's fighting somebody, then I know what that is as well. Spend the extra money because you're going to make a ton of money at the box office anyway, and invest in whatever cars they're really supposed to turn into. If the bad guys are supposed to turn into a gun, then turn them into a gun. Don't turn them into airplanes, because that's not what we remember as a kid. That's not what the character's about. But anyway, let's get back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's see, you got Spider-Man. Right after that, you're going to have a new Thor movie, and then you've got the first part of the Avengers movie coming out. Then Black Panther, Captain Marvel, who's going to be a female version of the character. You've got the next Avengers, and then a movie called Inhumans. So, other than Thor, Captain America, Into the Galaxy, a lot of these other characters are going to be brand new to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out, where Phase 3 goes, and is there a Phase 4? So, anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for listening to Rocky Top Wrestling Reviews. This is Bobby Mack. I appreciate you tuning in. Please make sure you follow us on that YouTube, as well as like our stuff. We've got a page on Twitter, so we do a lot of wrestling related material on there. We've got a Facebook page, so RTW Reviews. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks a lot for listening. We appreciate it. Have a great night.